Hey YouTube, this is Christian Prepper back at you. And first video I made was talking about the two things that I'm prepping for. We covered the first one, which was dying. And the second thing I'm prepping for is an economic collapse. And I've did all the normal stuff that most preppers do as far as preparing, stockpiling food and water and batteries and first aid supplies and stuff like that, having a retreat to go to. But, you know, sooner or later, that kind of stuff's going to run out. It's not going to last forever. And you're going to have to get back to being able to fend for yourself if it goes on for any length of time at all. And so one thing I've gotten into is raising some meat breed rabbits. And so what I was going to show you today is how I do it. And there's no right and wrong way on how to raise rabbits. And I've got my way and you've got your way, and kind of what I was going to show you today is my way of doing it. And so come on into my little rabbitry here. You can see I just have store-bought metal cages. You can buy these at most feed and stees. They run between 20 and 40 bucks. They're all metal. I just went up to my loft and did some framework and come down and suspending them with wire. You see how this wire on the end here is slanted out toward the end. If you'll do that on each end, it really helps with the cages swinging back and forth. I like the metal feeders here that clip onto the fence, and they go in. You can feed them without having to opening the cage door. I use just the regular plastic waters. I live in upstate South Carolina, so our climate here is pretty moderate. We do have some freezing weather, and the way I combat that is I have about 3 times as many of these as I need, and I just switch them out in cold weather. I'll keep enough in the house to switch them out. You know, if I had a ton of more rabbits, that might not be feasible, but with the cages I have, it's not a problem. It's the fastest way I found. As you can see, I have some metal between my pins here. If you don't have that, rabbits will set up against the side of their cage and they'll actually pick the hair off of each other. You'll have big bald spots on your rabbits. If you're beside a male, like this guy right here, he's a male. He's one of my bucks. And if I had him beside this female here, and I did not have this solid petition here, he would spray her. And over a few weeks' time, she would be yellow with his urine. That's just what he does to mark her. I keep Timothy hay on top of some of the cages. That just kind of keeps them from getting so bored. They eat the hay, but they kind of stand up on their back haunches and gives them something to pull through their cage. As you can see, I keep sheetrock here in their cage. This guy, he's got some sores on his back feet, and so when I see a sore coming, I'll put some sheetrock in the cages, and that kind of gives them something to sit on, kind of rest their feet, and they'll chew on it. It's not going to hurt them. And usually about the time they get this little piece of sheetrock chewed up, usually their feet's better. I don't keep something in their cage full time, because anything that you have in this cage that's wood is bad. And the reason it's bad is because when they urinate and go to the bathroom, that wood absorbs all that. And it's really bad. You can't get rid of it. And if you fool with enough rabbits and you fool with enough wooden cages, you'll eventually get disease. Metal cages are much better. They're much cheaper. And it's the way to go. We'll walk on down here. I've got one doe that's just brought, about a week and a half ago, brought some little babies. And I'll film them here. You can see them laying in there. They're alive. They're just wore out, I guess. They've been outside the pen all night. These little guys right here are about a week and a half, 2 weeks old. And they're still in a nest box. And about this time in their maturity level, what I like to do, let me shut this back up here. What I like to do when they start getting out of their nest box, this morning I came over and to feed everybody, and they was outside of their nest box on the cage floor. So when I start seeing that happen, that tells me that they're getting mature enough to hop a little bit. And what I'll do is I'll take their nest box that sits like this. I'll take them out. I'll clean their nest box out. I'll go dump all the hair and shavings and stuff out. And I'll take their nest box and I'll set it up on the side like this. And I'll put it back in the cage just like that. That way they can still go in and out their nest box. They'll have something solid to set on because their little feet will go through the wire still. And it gives them a place to huddle up. It gives her a place to go into, but yet they can come and go as they please. But now you need, if you're going to build some nest boxes, you know, when they're first born, you need this lip here. As the mama rabbit goes in to let her babies nurse, as she comes back out, you don't want the babies coming back out. And if one of them's latched on to a teat, you want this to kind of drag them off and keep them in the nest. So you want that lip. The problem is once they get about a week and a half or 2 weeks old, they go to jumping out and they can't get back in. So, and that becomes a problem there for about a week. So for about that 3rd week of life, I just turn my nest boxes over on their side and I'll leave it like that for about a week, and then I take them plumb out. You can notice this nest box has a wire mesh floor and then it has a piece of wood on the bottom. I build my nest boxes like that so in hot weather I can actually take this out and have just a mesh wire bottom. It makes it a lot cooler on the rabbits, and you know, a lot of the poop and stuff just goes right through that and it's not as bad. So that's one thing to consider too. One more thing I want to cover before I get finished this video is sanitation. You need to sanitize your cages. You can do it with Clorox. The only problem with Clorox is you have to empty all these cages out and all these rabbits, and it may not look like it'd be that much of a problem, but when you got rabbits with little babies like this, and you got mamas that's already had their babies, and this rabbit had a big litter, as you can see. This is one of my Californians. She had 9. So this cage is kind of full, and it's kind of hard to clean all these little boogers out. These little Californian rabbits are really pretty, and she's a really aggressive rabbit. She's like a pit bulldog when it comes to her babies. But one thing that I use is a chemical I found, and actually the guy that got me started in rabbits told me about it. It's a chemical called Vanodine, and you spell that V-A-N-O-D-I-N-E. And I brought the sheet, I don't know if you can see it, that they sent me with it. Evans puts it out, and it's a disinfectant. It's V29, it's what I buy, and you can mix this stuff up. And I'm going to show you here. This is the address here. Don't know if you can see that real good or not. My camcorder is not the best camcorder in the world by any stretch of the imagination. But I use this stuff. It works well. You just mix it up. You spray it. You can spray it with the rabbits in the pen. I've never lost any rabbits to disease. And it works real well. And it's fairly cheap. That's on disinfecting rabbits. That's about the best I found. Also, you noticed probably above my cages, I have these red tags hanging. These are just warehouse tags. And if you can see here, let me get over here to one in the daylight. If you can see. But I've got how old the rabbit is on there. I've got when I bred her. I know you can't see that it's real faded. But that's where I keep, every time I breed her, I write the date I bred her. I write the male that I bred her to, and then when she has her litter, I write how many she had, or if she didn't have a litter or didn't take. That helps me keep track. And when I'm out here feeding, I can look and see about when I need to put a nest box in. And after you breed a rabbit, in about 28 days, need to put the nest box in, and they'll bring their litter anywhere from about 31 days to about 33 days usually. So that's my little rabbitry. If you have any questions, shoot me a private message. I don't know that I can answer it, but I'll be glad to share what I know. Thank you, guys. Talk to you later.